here we go. So we're now beginning to use the astrological tools associated with the lightning path. And I thought it's important, as far as I'm concerned, to really kind of get a sense of the history of astrology itself. Because as I'm prone to saying, there are as many astrologies as there are astrologers. And over the centuries, there have been, millions of people involved in astrology, and they've all got their own particular take on it. Now, we do get conventions that persist, and people sign up for a particular kind of astrological use. So I'm just kind of in this presentation attempting to convey where I'm coming from in terms of lightning path astrology. So when we talk Western astrology, the origins are back into Mesopotamia, and it's always been a really interesting area for me to peer into, especially when I see these bas reliefs that are just so exquisite and so mysterious in their symbology. And Mesopotamia seems to be where a whole lot of it began. We're looking at 5000 BC. I know that nowadays the leading edge archaeologists are pushing dates way, way, way back, even further than this. But for the moment, let's just kind of get that sense of before Christ, 5,000 years, and the gradual development of astrology. So Mesopotamia represents the cradle of civilization, as it is home to some of the earliest known human civilizations, including the Sumerians, Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians. And they had this whole very complex civilization going on, those thousands of years ago. And I love this diagram here with the moon phases down in the bottom right-hand corner. It's like, and like David was just saying, it's when the sun and the moon and the stars all line up, boom, things happen. And we're still doing the same as they did way back when. So having arisen in Mesopotamia, astrology spread to other ancient civilizations, including Egypt, Greece, and Rome, where it underwent further development and adaptation. Now, Egypt in particular is really strong in this realm, and the origins of the zodiac seem to go back to this bas relief, which is carved on the ceiling of a temple. This is what's called the Dendera Zodiac, and it goes back to at least before the time of Christ, and we're still working with that zodiac to this day, with all the alterations that have happened in between. But when you look at a graphic like this, you can see that just in terms of number qualities, you've got number 8 represented here, very easy to pick up on the eightfold path here. And then you've got your basic quadrature as well. And layered onto those basic geometrical forms are all the different symbols representing really different states of consciousness that humans are prone to. So it's a map of consciousness that has persisted for these thousands of years. Now, astrologers have used a particular symbol to represent the earth in astrology. And what we're finding here is I'm pointing to the Hopi because one of the symbols that they use in their world is this, which is exactly the same as Western astrology has used for the earth itself. And the Hopi, the spiritual elders of the Hopi maintain that that Hopi are here on this, um, not planet, but okay, on this on the North American continent, there are spiritual caretakers for the North American continent, and over the years I've been engaged with them on you know an entry level, and that the fact that their central symbol here speaks of Western astrology, I've always found very fascinating. I'm glad to see they're still with us. And years ago, I learned from this man, Thomas Ben Yakia, Hopi elder, and this particular glyph or symbol on the left, where it says Hopi, that four directions quadrant is the shield that they presented to me visually and a whole lot of other people back in 1976, I think it was, when we did the first Earth healing ceremony, global healing ceremony that they initiated. So they very much have been representatives of that Earth-based mentality. And this particular shield, the quote that goes with it, the shield symbol with its four circles in four quadrants means, together with all nations, we protect both land and life and hold the world in balance. And some of you may be familiar with the Hopi prophecy, which Thomas was charged to convey to the world. And it's all based on this, what's called Prophecy Rock. And there's the image that's above the photograph is basically the essence of that particular prophecy. And it's not for me to go into it at this point, but there's a whole wealth of really deep knowledge that comes to you if you you get on the Hopi trail. And of course, the Book of the Hopi by Frank Waters is the foundation work to engage if you want to research that. So within Hopi mythology and cosmology, we have this figure of the Pahana, said to be a great white brother who would someday return to Hopi land and help bring about renewal. Well, Pahana for the Hopi is the feathered serpent for the Maya. Feathered serpent Quetzalcoatl Kukulkan. And the myth of the feathered serpent, often associated with ancient Mesoamerican cultures, like, oh, and I can't see around the corner here, sorry, like the Aztecs and the Maya, symbolizes a deity representing wisdom, transformation, and rebirth. In today's world, this myth can be metaphorically interpreted as a global call for embracing knowledge, personal growth, and positive change. The feathered serpent's attributes inspire individuals and societies to seek wisdom, balance, and harmony in a rapidly evolving global context. The serpent shedding its skin symbolizes a continuous process of renewal and adaptation. In a modern context, the myth encourages a collective journey toward enlightenment, environmental stewardship, and cultural harmony. Interpretations may vary, but the essence lies in finding relevance and inspiration from ancient wisdom to navigate contemporary challenges. So, if we look back to Mesopotamia and locate the origins of certainly the Western tradition of astrology, we have here the map, and there's your Mesopotamia, and they used the number 360 a lot. That's the foundation for their whole astrological charts. And that impulse was carried of Western astrology was carried by certainly by Dane Rudhyar to North America and from North America beyond. But he moved as a young, I think he was 17 years old when he left Paris and went to the U.S. with like $2 in his pocket, and there he, over many years, established himself as a philosopher, as an artist, as a poet. But where I was mostly engaged with Rudyard has been through the astrology and the philosophy. So he was a real exemplar of bringing the Western astrological tradition onto the North American continent. Meanwhile, we have the Vedic tradition in astrology, which I'm not going to go into at all, but that's another whole realm of astrological knowledge that's, happening on the planet simultaneously. Now I've got an image here of, above the word Western, we have an image of Madame Helena P. Blavatsky, who was a big influence on Rudyard and a whole lot of other people, beginning in 1875, when she started in New York City, the Theosophical Society. Now she came out of Russia, became a world traveler, and was on a mission from her teenage years. She knew she had a big calling, and she pursued it relentlessly. And she was able to apparently manifest what they call phenomena. So, like, she would materialize things out of thin air, basically, and she would have a whole raft of things that she could do, and she would do these phenomena manifestations in the front room, like it's a very casual setting, but the knowledge that she was imparting and the call to synthesis of astrology, or well, of astrology, of course, but of science, of religion, of art. She was very much a spokesperson for that kind of synthesis. And her book, I'm forgetting it in this moment. There was Isis Unveiled and The Secret Doctrine. How could I forget? And The Secret Doctrine has, to this day, philosophers and, well, we've got scientists, philosophers, artists, all kinds of people are still gravitating to this book, the cosmic, what did I say? I'm sorry, my short-term
Secret Doctrine.
Secret Doctrine.
Well, am I still on?
Doctrine, right. Thanks, David. You're right on. So looking here then into the Mayan world, we see the number 260 rather than 360. And we get the sacred Solking calendar. So we're starting to open to a whole new realm outside of Western or Vedic astrology, which is pretty much grounded in the number 360. Now with the 260, this is 13 times 20, which takes us right into the core of the Solking calendar. And on the left, we have some of the hieroglyphs of the Solking. We have the moon cycles. Now, this is still a very new area for most people. The Mayan knowledge has been shrouded for quite some time. But now, as of, well, especially since 1987 and with harmonic convergence, which really alerted the world to the existence of this Mayan cosmology. Once that kicked in, interest in Mayan studies has just, it's just dramatic how many people now are actively researching what this is all about. So, as far as my own research into this, it's all pretty much been catalyzed by my engagement with Jose Arguelles, through the earth healing or through the harmonic convergence back in the 80s and ever since. And even prior to that, I started reading his works in 1972, which was the same time I hooked up to Rudyard. So those two excuse me, those two men brought forth teachings around astrology and around holonomics, is what Arguelles called his teaching. So it's kind of a science of unity and of expanding consciousness. And central to that has been the Tzolk'in calendar, which he educated people about and also shapeshifted his own version for the modern era, which he calls the dream spell. So the dream spell is a fabrication by him as an individual and is not a traditional rendition of the Tzolk'in. Now I come into the picture with my astrological orientation, where I've been for 13 or 14 years using the teachings that Rudyard brought forth around the lunation cycle. So I'm living my life in attunement to each moon cycle, and I'm journaling and so on. And then once I got into Arguelles' work, the stage was set for me to get a blinding flash of insight, which was that the lunation cycle work that I was doing was actually embedded in a larger frame of reference, which was the Tzolk'in. Now, the only reason I saw it that way was because I was using the lunation cycle as my basic frame of reference. So suddenly I now had the chance to, well, I was given this insight of, well, this 260 unit Tzolk'in calendar, that's a fractal. That structure can be used at different scales. So therefore, the lunation cycle as a unit fits into that grid. And so that on that day in March 3rd, 1986, I entered a path of moon cycles that were embedded in the larger frame of reference of the Tzolk'in calendar. So when you get talking with people and the notion of the Mayan calendar comes up, be aware that there are many different vectors into this knowledge, and they're not all consistent with one view. There are many views and there's many uses. Now, what we are doing, the fact that you guys are showing up every month, and we are bringing this particular orientation forward into the world. This is a novel insight, and we're giving form to that essentially intellectual insight. And it's an open-ended kind of journey. We'll know where it's going, but if it feels good, if it's a path with heart, as Don Juan says, that's what we want. If it's not, go elsewhere. So here we are. We're a Lightning Path Zoom group, and we're doing it. We're doing the work of bringing this mentality into the world, this kind of consciousness. I quote from Arguelles from his earlier book, The Transformative Vision. Human history is the struggle to remain open. Time and again, human consciousness fixates and slams the door on its greatest gift, the open-endedness of infinite possibilities. So just having that orientation to life, it's like going beyond expectation. Just allowing what wants to happen, to come up and wash over us. And keep open to the next moment, and then the next moment, and the next moment. This is kind of the ego transcendent journey. So I'm not going to go through all the text here. We know who we are. Let's just get on with it. So we At the last meeting, we talked about having charts for this meeting, and that we would go through the different, um, some of the different calculations we can do and see what happens. And I've been calling for people to use the same frame of reference in terms of the houses. So yeah, like go with the natural house chart, or the zero Aries as they call it. Because over here on on Google, if you just Google astrological house systems, you'll come up with 7,500,000, no, 7,580,000.
No, it's 7 million.
It is 7 million results in 0.32 seconds. So once again, just, if you stay clear with the frame of reference you're working with and just keep consistent, then you're not going to get all muddied up with astrological interpretations. That's my take on it anyway. And I'm a guy, so here's just my chart, for example. And I did at one time, um, I didn't chat with Rudyard, but my birth chart came up with him and his wife. I was in communication with his wife, and he ended up having a look at my chart. And the only feedback I got back, which was really essential, was that the whole axis of my chart is this Sun Pluto opposition, which is the big red bar here. So that big red bar in a circle, you've got 5. You got the golden mean. And so that's my little vector of investigation. For me to leap into my chart, where do I want to go? Well, as he encourages, go to what you conceive to be the axis of the whole chart. Get to that core basic ground, and then just radiate out from there. Vectors are going out in all directions, and there's no one way of engaging with your chart. The chart is a mandala. No matter what point of that circle you enter into, a path leads to the center. So have fun. Follow your intuition. Just allow it to speak to you. This is a language. You're learning the language of the stars. And once you get more and more adept at that, the stars speak to you. So the other thing with this particular chart, you see the rectangle. This is what's called a mystic rectangle, as a pattern formation. There's the trine, gives you the 3-pointed star, the square. Well, we've got the rectangle, and they call it a mystic rectangle. So this has been an area of interest for me in studying my own chart. It's like, well, that's kind of interesting. I mean, and one thing that happens for me is I look at that rectangle and I see the Arguelles book, Earth Ascending, which was created as a rectangle. And I just kind of send that right in there. It's like, yep, that's a check mark. This whole mystic journey has been, it's all wrapped up there in the symbology. Now on the left, we have the, from Sun out to Pluto as a straight line. Well, in some of my work with this particular astrology, that axis has been fundamental to bridging from astrology into the chakra system. And I'm not going to show all that here, but just to let you know that out of my own natal birth chart, I can kind of see a journey of transformation through these symbols. And it's all just, it's a language that's just so alive. Once you start getting into, each planet has a domain of consciousness, each of which has its own quality. That's, and right now we're just at the threshold of this of Pluto moving into Aquarius. I mean, this is a time of ignition of Aquarian sensibilities. Those of us who are Aquarians are really called to step up and radiate what we have. And, I'm keeping that in mind. And what is it that I have that nobody else has necessarily? So what is it that I'm to bring forward in in this journey into Aquarius. And whether you have Aquarius highlighted in your chart or not, we're the Pluto and Leo generation sitting right opposite that Aquarius. So we're just, aimed in that direction, and we're meant to flower, have the consciousness of our everyday lives be an example, be the change you want to see in the world. So there's Blavatsky, and I back in the early '70s was when I really came alive, and not only Arguelles and Rudyard were big exemplars, but yeah, I connected with Madame Blavatsky and her teaching, and at that time it was over my head. The secret doctrine. I got so far into it, and then I just the jargon was so different, and I just kind of let it go. But nonetheless, there had been some kind of transference of energy between me and her and her teachings at that time, and I really felt it in a resonant kind of way, and that recently was activated again when coming here to Kauai, and as I mentioned in our last talk, and going out to the thrift store from a Christian church and digging around in the back in the bookshelves, and coming up with the latest biography, 400-page biography of Madame Blavatsky. So it was a natural for me to take that on, for $3, and I've read it while I've been here, and it's just been fascinating to me because I've felt this real resonance with her. So just to close on that, this is essentially what she's been about. As it said in that previous slide, there is no religion higher than truth. So she has been a spokesperson for that path, and that biography just really opened up my awareness to the personal side of her struggle, which was enormous. She was because she was bringing in a new paradigm. Basically, she was under attack by all the naysayers, and it was severe. But she was so strong, and she just manifested her dharma, her truth of being, and people got it, and people are still getting it. Just to highlight, theosophy is built upon three fundamental principles. First, the belief in an eternal, impersonal, and all-encompassing divine intelligence. Secondly, the concept of reincarnation, where the soul experiences multiple lifetimes to evolve and learn. And three, the existence of spiritual masters or adepts who guide humanity's spiritual evolution. So, those are some core beliefs of theosophy, and there are probably millions of people around the world are still manifesting the impulse that she brought into the world. So just to close that off, there's a website called Theme, and you can input your birth data and get a chart drawn up. And then you can also do things like this. You take the one person, their chart, and another person's chart, and then their algorithms do an interpretation of compatibility. It looks like I got a major compatibility going on here. So that maybe explains some of that resonance that I got with the Madame way back when. So once again, we're just on this threshold, Pluto into Aquarius, and I'm sure glad to be hanging out with you guys and making the journey through. So let's hear from you now. Enough of me.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Yeah, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
Very good. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, very good, very good.
just a question about the astro theme.
Yes.
You suggested that we use astro seek, correct, for the
Yeah.
for the chart? Okay, and then this astro theme is another possibility for
That's
this
another one. Yeah.
comparison. Okay,
And then
Good.
there's the one that you've mentioned too, Astrodienst.
yeah,
I think it's just astro.com is their address, but
right.
it's also that. It's good. But Astro Seek is, I discovered since we talked last, that they also do the Sabian symbol printout kind of thing for a birth chart. I had directed people to James Burgess because
Mhm.
his site does that. And here I was happy to find that AstroSeek also does that. So
Mm,
just let you know.
yeah. And just a question now that you mentioned that about the Astros. Anyway, when I asked you about, I was doing the sun, what's the word we were doing about the
Opposite sun.
yeah, composite suns. When I looked up ours between you and me, it was whatever it was, something zero, like, and you told me to take it to the next, even though it was zero, right? I just forget what that was. No, just a minute.
Yeah, when you're talking, this is strictly talking the Sabian symbols.
Oh, yes, the Sabian symbols, yes.
You always round up to the next whole degree.
The next full, because I think, what was it? Yeah, when the chart came back between the two of us, it was Aquarius 20 and 0 degrees, 20 and 0, but you said take it to 21. Move it, because the chart showed me it was, as I say, 20, and then there was no other
it's
numbers
0,
beside
0.
it. I think it was 2000. And you said,
Yeah, when it's 20, when it's 00 minutes, those are tricky ones.
okay.
It's like there's a part of it wants to pull you ahead, and the other part wants you to look back. So it's kind of a double whammy. But as far as being able to explain, specifically what to do there, I mean, it's just a shot in the dark as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, actually what I did is I printed out the information for both.
Both, there you go.
And yeah, anyway, I was just curious yeah, that's good.
Right on.
Yeah, so I did that.
So who's up for sharing their chart? I'm realizing you're being recorded and this is very personal. So if you don't feel comfortable with that, I can totally understand. But if you want to have the group mind kind of help you explore your chart, this would be the opportunity.
Well, I'd like to ask a question, Dwayne. What caught my attention when you first started talking about yours was you said that big red line was your sun conjunct or whatever across from Pluto. Was it Pluto?
Yep, Sun Pluto opposition.
So yeah, opposition. And so what is that? I mean, that would definitely be one place to start. What's in opposition, right? So can you talk a little around what comes to you, or what that kind of opposition, your sun opposite Pluto, what that's kind of done for you, or how you work with that or think about that, or
Well, I've learned to surrender to it because it implies a really transformative journey to be on. It's like moving out from the sun towards Pluto and expanding. It's it's like one of the researches I did online. Somebody came up with the image of a locomotive. Maybe that's why I live in Spencer's Bridge. It's like you're on in this life, you chose it. You're on one hell of a journey, and it's just, it's going to be on and on and on. And I mean, once I got ignited, that's been it. And,
right? Yeah.
And most of that or a whole lot of that has played out in just my one-to-one relationships, and especially my long-term one-to-one relationships. I mean, every woman I've been with has been really important for me at that stage of the journey. And then it was, then there's the next journey, with a different person. And it wasn't how I ever thought it would be. I married my junior high school sweetheart. I thought that was it for
Ever and ever.
wow. It turned out different.
Can you
That's
see
me,
back that?
the transformation, the constant transformation. And hopefully I'm learning something with each person I'm engaged with in that way. And it doesn't have to be like the marriage relationship. It's all my relations, as they say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, just to get your thoughts or some things to kind of throw my way, and I know it'll be for me to really look at, but for me, I have pretty much in opposition to my sun is Saturn. Now I don't like the feel of that for some reason, but I don't know why.
So this is Sun Saturn, is that what you said?
It's the red line that I would draw through my chart from Sun would go right across from Sun, a straight line. Opposition would be Saturn.
With Saturn, okay.
Yes, I mean, it doesn't say that on my chart, but I'm just looking at my chart and I draw a straight line across.
Yeah, maybe can you show us?
Okay, where do I don't know how far to put this up. Where can you see this?
A little higher, a little higher.
Higher?
Yeah, that should be good there.
Can you see?
Yep.
Can you see where the sun? I don't know if I'm holding
your
where
sun's in Aquarius, like mine, and your Venus.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we're definitely Aquarians.
Yeah.
And just so that Sun Saturn opposition, that's part of a cycle, a complete cycle that would take the orbit of the Earth around Saturn is about 29 years, 30 years.
30 years.
What's that?
I didn't say anything.
So the thing about oppositions are they're engaged. They're a major component of a cycle. So you're coming to the most objective part of the cycle when you're at the opposition point. And that's why a lot of times it's in the old days it was really considered to be a stressful aspect. It's a difficult aspect. Well, yeah, you could call it that, or you could call it an opportunity to learn about a particular dynamic. Get past the judgment and just go with what you've got, and you work with that.
When you come to the opposition point.
Yeah, see in your chart, the Saturn has come to that opposition.
Oh, right.
So it's halfway around its journey around the sun. Right? And when we overlay the lunation cycle onto that, which we can do, then you're not at first quarter, you're at full moon. So that's like the full moon objectivity. That's the nature of the opposition aspect. So it doesn't matter what planets, it's about the most objective portion of the cycle. So you have a propensity to be highly objective. Let's put it that way. To be able to, rise above the stresses and strains and just get that glimpse, that final peak of understanding, and essentially embody that. That's ideally what we can do. So what I would do with that
Yeah,
go for your Sabian symbols. You've got two Sabian symbols sitting in opposition there. And one is associated with your core purpose, your core Aquarian energetic, and the other is the Leo, so there's
right.
there's in group formation, and you as the radiant dancer, in solo, solo.
The, yeah, the Leo, oh, yeah, so, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, again, okay, just, and working with that opposition too, the Aquarius is opposite Leo. So that, working with, so are
Yeah.
those the
Broader,
Sabian, what's that?
the broader issues that come up. Yeah.
Right, oh, yeah, okay. Well, that will give me a start. Anyway, I guess other questions too, like, so doing this, so this is the, so this is our birth chart. This is how the planet, like on birth chart. So this is how the sky was when I was born.
A snapshot at birth.
This is, yeah, right. And so to work with that, it's, I mean, to do the progress, like to get a snapshot of, like, say today, then that shows you where all the planets and things are in my chart as of,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole other chart, and it's a different dynamic. It's
right.
Is that called the current transit?
Oh, so now transits are what's happening currently in the sky.
Right, that's what I mean. If she says, well, I want to look at what's happening today. You can have your birth chart and your current transit shows up on the outside.
Transit, and then the internal to the chart is your progressions.
Mhm.
That's what you've got, two wheels spinning there.
Right.
Oh, so the progressions, that's where the planets have progressed since my birth chart. Is that what the progressions are? Like, sorry.
They like houses in astrology. There's a number of progressions. There's different progressions. So what we let's see. Well, we've worked somewhat, I think, in the past with the progressed lunation. So the progressed lunation is based on a day after your birth equals a year in your lifetime. So the calculations take your birth chart and progress it according to that formula. And that gives you a continuous reading of what's really personal and going on inside you, rather as opposed to transits, which are coming at you from outside, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
There's two different orientations there.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying a day is equates to a year in your life.
So that's again, that then is a fractal use of mathematics here.
Oh, okay.
So the scales of the lunation cycle stays the same, but it changes, and it goes to a larger frame of reference. It goes from 29 and a half days, for example, to 29 and a half years.
Oh, right. Okay.
And so what happens if you're starting to tune into that is this approach to astrology is different than your conventional, because in the conventional approach, you have somebody like I'm struggling to be for you in this moment. An astrologer,
yeah, come on.
An astrologer who can interpret your birth chart for you. Whereas really the lightning path approach is about you are having direct experience of principles, of cosmic principles. And the more experience you have with that, the more adept you'll get in your understanding. But it's a one, it's you and that direct experience. So don't look to me to figure it out.
Okay,
but
then.
we can provide opinions along the way.
I tried that one on him already. Just give me the answers, man. I don't want to do the work.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I had a quote come to me a couple days ago from an astrologer, Adam Sommer, and he was saying that once he took a more stoic approach, that all those alignments and things are fate instead of free will. When he looked at it that way, he was more relaxed into it, because that's when I was born on that date with the planets in those positions. That's the fate, and it's taking off from there. He was more open to it than just saying, "Well, I have free will to do all this other stuff around it." But he still had, with that fate, he still has the choice what to do with it.
Hmm.
And that's where we're talking about, well, you got to do the work. I have the choice. Well, what am I going to do with this positioning?
Hmm.
So that really resonated with me when I saw that paragraph a couple of days ago.
Right on. Well, that would be a great segue into your chart. Are you willing to
Yeah,
share?
or mine or Sophia's. We were just noticing when we printed this one out, I included Chiron in it. And Sophia's got a beautiful trine of Chiron in Sagittarius with Venus in Aries and the moon in Leo.
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful.
And the moon is conjunct with Pluto. So and then that one's in bold. So that one's highlighted. But then there's another one just below it, another trine, and it's just off a little bit, but it looks like a Merkaba.
Oh, right on.
So there's a trine below it, which is Jupiter in Pisces with the trine to the MC, and then to the other point is Uranus in Cancer. So to me, that looks pretty powerful.
Well, I know when I've looked at your chart, Sophia, that beautiful trine, I just want to color it.
Mhm. Can you hold a chart up, Steve? If you
Yeah, look at that trine. I mean, that's a grand trine.
wow. Oh wow.
And
Wow.
she's got a kite as well. It
Mm.
doesn't show on this chart. It shows on her other one.
Mm,
Wow, that's very prominent.
There's a kite.
Mm.
beautiful.
Mm.
So that is something to explore if one chooses.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mm.
And I'm saying there's a lot of different vectors. One vector I enjoy is coloring. Like getting a chart, seeing the pattern that's most prominent, in goes yellow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that shows up. That shows up
over
for
here.
us
Let's
because,
take that in blue, and then you're engaged with the.
yeah, it's so amazing because our printer ran out of color. And so I printed everything in black and white, and I go, oh, well, we've got colored pencils.
Oh, there you go.
Perfect.
I love it.
Mhm.
But what I'm noticing out of this one with the design, when you were talking about the rectangle in yours, Dwayne, I am fascinated when I go outside on the deck and I see the Big Dipper up there. And then I'm just noticing in this layout, it looks like the ladle of the Big Dipper part to me. And I haven't pursued that any further with what's the significance, but I've just always felt with my sun at the 0 point, at the 0 Aries, And in Pisces, on the cusp with Aries, I see I've got fire and water. So I've just noticed through my life that I have felt the steam.
Good one.
Good one, good one.
So that one's always stood out. Now since looking at it through new vision, I'm seeing the Venus and Mars are conjunct, and they're in opposition to Saturn, which is also conjunct with Neptune. So there's a lot going on there.
Mm.
Well, and as I've shared with you a number of times, the fact that your sun is at Pisces 30 degrees, right at that, I mean, that Pisces 30, Aries 0, that's the point that the Sphinx is directed to.
Mhm.
And it's been quite some time now that I've been holding that image in mind and exploring it and finding it, somehow shows up. Well, for example, um, Teresa showed me here on the island a place called the Birthing Rock. This was the birthing area for the elites on the island.
Mm.
And it was a massive rock, and then there was a little opening, and then there was a little, they'd piled rocks around the entrance so it would contain whatever. And we went from there down island to a big statue of the last king of Kauai. What was it? Kaumu Ali'i. And there, this not a portrait, the statue of him. He stood like this, and right away, my Mayan connection clicks in because Hunbat's men, the Mayan. I've got a number of pictures of him, and that's exactly what he's doing, and he's doing it consciously to bridge
Mm.
head and the heart kind of thing, and the heart chakra. Well, here's this ginormous statue of the king, and then in the write up, it said he's gazing upon the horizon, which has two extremities. One is the spring. Is the spring equinox? No, it's it's not the equinox. It was the solstices. So you have the summer solstice and the winter solstice, and that was the extent of his gaze, and that was the extent of his kingdom. Was everything contained within that range. Well, this is exactly how I've been exploring this whole thing with the Sphinx, because it's doing the same thing. It's going, you draw a V out from the Sphinx and you get the solstices, and right in the center you get the equinoxes, right? So so there I'm fascinated that here we have the ancient Hawaiians kind of hooking up geometrically with the ancient Egyptians, and it just furthers my sense of, and maybe we'll hear from Barbara now as I open up that door into the vast Egyptian heritage, the Egyptian and beyond. There's this, and nowadays, like some of these leading edge guys, they're saying, we have this major maritime civilization, and it was functional and active all over the planet, and they were using common languages, and yeah, we're still threaded into that tapestry. So if you catch one of those threads, I figure it's good to just keep pulling. There's more, and it could be, the next time you step out your door, and something looks a little different all of a sudden. It's like, okay, what's going on here?
Hello.
I'll tell you, around here, you find piles of rocks in all kinds of different places. They called them heiau. They would build these really organic rock structures. And every time I see one, I feel like I'm connected back to the ancient ones. You know, it's
Mm.
really amazing.
Nice.
So Barbara, yeah, we haven't heard from you much at all. Would this be a time, or did you have more, Steve?
Well, just in conclusion with that point, I've just felt I'm attuned into like endings and new beginnings.
Absolutely.
So it's noticing when something's ended or in the new beginning of puppet building, for example,
Mm.
and following that. And with it, I wasn't aware that this was Chuen, three Chuen happening. And now,
Oh, well, there you go. There's a little surprise for you.
yeah, so yesterday,
That's so good.
like this whole puppeteering, puppet building has been theatrical from, he's going to, we build the set or we build him and then he's going to, he'll be going to makeup and costume but he went out on his first trip out into the world yesterday. Actually, Sophie and I were just discussing it, but the day he's born is February 8th. So yesterday. So I can look up his chart.
Right.
And
Wow.
but he went with me to the chiropractic office, and I was sitting in the waiting room, and I just had Kopi on my knee, and I had brought it there to show the staff was interested in seeing it when it was done, so I brought it. So then I started to put it away, but then I look out the door, and here come a mother and two young girls are coming along the path. So I sat back down and put Kopi on my knee, and they came in the door. And before the mother even got through the doorway, she looks at me and she goes, "Are you a ventriloquist?" And then the look of the two young girls' eyes to suddenly come across this man holding this little wooden puppet on his knee, they were just, you could just feel they were in awe.
Oh, fantastic.
And they wanted to know its name. And then as we were leaving, they're going down the hallway going, "What was his name again? What was Kopi? What was it?" And they were just so excited. So it really brought a lot of joy doing something that isn't normal, like people just sitting in a waiting room.
Yeah.
No, there's a man sitting in a waiting room with a puppet on his knee. That was
That's a whole
just
other
felt
world.
that felt very Chuen for me.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Wow, I look
So-
forward to more adventures.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to, it's referred to as a buddy puppet. So my buddy is going to go with us and
Mhm.
just creates a new way to interact. And
We'll look forward to the journeys of Buddy's journeys. The
Yeah.
journeys of Buddy.
of Kopi.
Well, yeah, Kopi, but your buddy.
Kopi the
your
buddy puppet.
Okay. Kopi's journeys.
That's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Hey, and just before we leave that, you and I are aware that Neptune is bearing down on your sun at Pisces 30. And
Yeah.
I'm so, once again, I've been on this vector of exploration centered on the Sphinx and zero Aries. And when I realized that Neptune was coming on down to that spot, it just opened some door in me that I've yet to fully explore. That's for sure.
Mhm.
And I'm
That's right. It's headed for that point and the exit, and then into the heat, into Aries.
yeah, into Aries. So like if we think we're at the threshold to Aquarius now,
Mhm.
it's going to get hot and heavy.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, well, I'm sure we'll have many more discussions about that particular topic.
Mhm.
Just
And
to put,
also in this happening today with the in the Chinese, of course, it's the Chinese calendar, the dragon, but it's also we're moving into a new 24-year period, the period of 9. And so when we were just talking about when Kopi was born, we all add up his numbers, and his numbers add up to 9.
Hmm.
So
So
Kopi's
which
leading
number
us into the period of
birthday?
9.
You're doing the birth date thing?
Yeah,
Number of the birthday. Yeah.
yeah, the number of the birth date.
Yeah.
So we're moving out of the period of 8 into the period of 9,
Mm.
which is obviously that's a very auspicious number.
Great cycles.
Mm.
And that's it.
Thank you.
And a delicious silence runs around the room.
And out of the vast expanse comes a voice.
Somebody eating soup.
And maybe a voice from across the waters, way far across.
Yes. Barbara, Barbara,
Barbara,
Barbara,
Barbara,
Barbara.
Barbara. Ready or not?
We can't hear you.
Nope.
Can't hear you.
Here we
Barbara.
go. Yeah, I'm muted.
There we go.
I was muted. Now you have it. Now you got it.
Right on.
Yeah,
Glad to
it's
see
like
you.
Joanne's chart. I saw Uranus on her root chakra, kind of, like where when I do my readings, I see this down part, the energy which like goes straight through the MC above and the down. She has Uranus there. How is that? I mean, that's her grounding. Whatever happens with her, when there's Uranus energy coming, she feels totally grounded. Or how would you see it?
Oh, wow. I feel
Do you
quite,
understand what I mean? This is why I connect this with your dancing experience.
oh, interesting.
When you had this Uranus energy coming through you, you were living it.
Right
You
on.
were totally gone. You were just totally into it, just experiencing it with all your being. And that's the grounding energy. That's the only way you're grounding.
Oh, wow.
Or how
Okay.
would you say it? I mean, I've never seen something like that.
Well, really, okay, I appreciate this, Barbara, because for the most part, I just do not feel grounded. I haven't
Yeah,
been able to.
you're not. But
No.
when you're not grounded, you feel fine because that's the Uranus energy.
Well,
I mean, this is my kind of explanation, because Uranus energy is like, or when something suddenly happens, when there's this thunder and lightning kind of thing, that must be totally grounding for you, because that's what I saw in the chart. It was amazing. I mean, I've never seen something like that.
oh, it's all right.
Because it's like pure, it's like electricity. It's like, and that's your grounding.
Hmm.
Don't you see it?
Well, I see. Yeah. So you're just saying that the Uranus right
Yes.
here,
So yeah. That's
and it's the
yeah.
only thing down. It's the
And
only.
look, if you have this blue connections,
Yeah.
this blue connections to your Aquarius energy.
Okay. That's
Yeah, and I see Uranus, Chiron, and they are working together. I see this is like amazing what I recently can feel with people who are like, they need this Uranian energy. Like, for example, Tucker Carlson and Putin. I saw them totally in my last reading. That Tucker Carlson is this Uranus energy. He's absolutely Uranus. You're doing something which is totally which is totally unacceptable from the American point of view.
Yeah.
And then this fine little Putin who is totally wounded, but he knows how to heal his wounds and standing up to this immensely, and this Tucker Carlson gives this Chiron a voice. I thought this was amazing. You know, I can see now like this difficult situations we are having, like a play or like a like a theater, like it's a presentation, you know, also like Tucker Carlson and Putin, they are bringing something up for all of us to heal. And that's maybe also with you, that you bring something out of the root energy, which is also the subconscious energy. And you have Uranus there, so you sub everything up. You have this capacity to bring all this unconscious stuff up into the light, and maybe very fast, you know. It's like, because it's like thunder and lightning, it's like really like in your dance, you know. It's like you get you get moved, you know. You can't control your movements, you just go for it, you know. It's like you have no other way than surrender into the energy which is happening. But you bring up a lot of stuff when things like this is happening to you, because others see that there's some subconscious stuff which has to come up for them as well. So you sort of have to bring it up because you can't help it, you know. So a performance artist would be great. You would be a great performance artist. Your chart would be perfect for that.
Well, this is just so perfect, Barbara. I just like, I have not honored what my natural being at all. I haven't honored it, and that's what it feels like. It's so explosive. It's like, why aren't I? And I'm on there with Tucker Carlson. I say, yes, just stand up and speak out the truth and just yell it out. And it doesn't matter what, you know, what you raise up and whatnot. And I've got that.
Did you catch it?
I've got that, but you know, I sort of like, I've been living so long, and well, you know, just, you know, I guess my South Node Libra, like just keep the balance. And even with my family, like my family surprised me here. My brother and his wife from Saskatchewan, my brother and his wife from BC, they knocked on my door on Thursday. The first couple from Saskatchewan knocked on my door on Thursday and I like opened up, like from Saskatchewan, they've got a surprise for my birthday next week. Like, so they, an early birthday surprise. And it's like, they traveled from Saskatchewan in the winter, like this, and it's just, and then not only did I just kind of get over that and kind of was able to settle down and have a bit of a visit with them, there's a knock on the door again. I go out, my brother from BC and his wife are here.
Wow.
And it's like,
wonderful. And they like you because you open up, you explode, you know, you have this Uranus, and they can feel that you really want them there, you know. It's like, it must feel so good for them, you know. It's like discharging.
well, I couldn't. An explosion is a good word, because I couldn't. I just let loose. I couldn't help it. It was just like, I think I screamed, and I just fell to the floor. I mean, it was just mind-boggling that they would be there at the door. So
wow.
I just,
So they had to surprise you because they know how good you are when you get surprised, you show it all. It's great. It's like showing your emotions. Yeah. I mean, you could have
Wow.
been more reserved or something, but you're not, and they know you because
Yeah.
there's your siblings.
Well,
And it's very
yeah. But then I put a lid on it, or then I tamp it around. So for the next few days, then it was like
Mhm.
you know, I tried to keep it, it's not all about me. So I tried to tamper the energy, and my sister kind of took over. And so I let her take over, and I just kind of, yeah, I definitely don't. Yeah. I also put a lid on it. Subconscious, I'm subconscious, is it unconscious? Probably, but subconscious, what's the word about? Self-conscious.
subconscious. Yeah.
Self-conscious, because so then I put a lid on
Yeah,
it.
you
It's
put it back into
like,
the. This is
yeah,
also like putting a lid on your soul. Go back, go back and hide for a moment because there's others as well.
just you just don't want to blow apart the whole apartment. Wow.
Great.
Now this
Well,
is
Yeah, it's like very
this is
explosive right now and very healing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I won't, and I just, oh, Dwayne, yeah, I was going to thank Barbara, but well, I will. Well, let me thank Barbara. But Dwayne, you're about to say something. Go ahead, Dwayne.
You're welcome.
well, it's just
Dwayne.
while we're looking at this, and I'm realizing you and I have the same Uranus. So everything she said about you, your path applies to mine as well.
Wow.
Right.
Now, what I'm
Yeah.
aware of, having been in this exploration a bit longer than you, that Uranus is exactly opposite galactic center.
Wow.
So when we talk about opening up to the the transcendent,
Yeah.
that's a sure
I
sign
mean,
right
it's so
there.
beautiful. It's so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. And I saw it immediately from very long distance. I love it. Yeah, I saw it immediately because maybe I'm focused on Uranus. I want to see, it's like I'm watching it like a theater in each like I'm doing the charts for people. So I got really very sensitive to all these players, these cosmic players which are out right now. And it's
Oh,
perfect. I can see them in people like Tucker Carlson and Putin. And I mean, I didn't extend it to any other, but you can extend it, whomever you want to see, you sort of can feel into their energy and see if he's into going through a Uranus energy, like for example, my nephew, he went into hospital and he was like going through a healing process. Absolutely. And it's like Uranus and Chiron playing to clean his whole body out, saying now it's time you have to finish your lifestyle and be more healthy. It's like boom, like a bomb. It's exploding everywhere around when you look at people's karma, like maybe your sisters and brothers, they probably have also. Why did they come to visit you? Because they needed also to see you and to bring something to your life that you can see also what they are going through.
Mm-hmm.
We all go through a heavy healing trip.
Mm-hmm.
And Chiron is also self-healing. Chiron is alternative medicine, and Uranus says, "Yeah, bring it on," and hits you, right? You get like taken apart into pieces, and then slowly everything falls back into. So you have to recollect all your pieces and see where you're going from there, because you had to have this experience like you with your dance, like afterwards you probably were totally exhausted and had to pick up all your pieces, which were all over the place, but you like it, you know? And
Well,
a lot of
yeah.
people
Go
don't
ahead.
like it.
Well, I have those peak experiences, which are, peak experiences throughout my life, which this last couple of days would have been another one of those peaks and stuff. And then like it's a peak, and then it's just so explosive and so energetic and so high and so much energy and just so big and so expansive. And then it's like, huh? Oh. Now what?
So you have that same like Dwayne says, he has it too. So it's interesting that you both have that, you know.
Well, I've always with Dwayne, I've known we're so, we're sisters in, Kawak, we're sister brother, Kawak Temple, and close. And I've always felt with Dwayne, or not felt that, like, so he's able to so sort of focus and bring it in and bring it down to his work and his Mayan stuff and the feathered serpent and the, so I can see the intensity of, to me, of that is on paper and on the on the computer and on the, so the intensity is there with it all. Whereas mine, I mean, I haven't, that doesn't work for me, or it hasn't worked for me, or I haven't, whatever. Mine is all over the place. Like mine is more just explosive and out there, not focused.
You have Saturn. I mean, that's where Saturn comes in. He brings in structure. So maybe Dwayne brings in structure now with the horoscope thing, because it's very structured, and you have like, if you use that, you can put your mind around and get a structure. Saturn is very helpful to get not orderly, but put things into perspective. So I think it's very interesting if you keep doing the astrology thing.
Yeah.
And explore more,
Mhm.
because that would probably give you a total new perspective of seeing your life or the life of others.
Yeah.
And then you're not all over. Then you're collected, you know. Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, I appreciate that, Barbara. That's very insightful, or it certainly resonated with me, and I really appreciate, those insights and sharing that. That's
Yeah, that's risky, but when you see it, you have to name it in a way.
well,
It's all about seeing it.
well, I appreciate that. So it means a lot to me, Barbara. Thank you for pointing
You're
that out for me. Thank you. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Hmm.
There's a little space there. Can I? Hello?
Absolutely.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to follow, some of it here, Dwayne, but to get insights. I lost my bloody pen again. Oh, there it is. So can you just briefly show me what the glyph for Uranus is? Because I'm trying to follow this conversation on my own chart, and I don't have the. I've already packed up my stuff, Dwayne, so I don't have the index for all the glyphs. So what's it look like, the one Uranus, so I can find it?
Your vertical axis,
Right.
and then you've got a semicircle on either side facing out,
Right.
and then a little circle at the bottom of the vertical.
Okay. A little circle with a square or a X in the middle.
No.
Is that the? No, that's not the one.
Yeah.
Maybe just forget about it. I got to do some work here and figure this stuff out.
Well, here it is.
Yeah.
Because I thought you were talking about like I'm looking for the I got the house thing here. Anyway, no, it's too much. It's too much right now. Never mind. Pass me by. It's okay. I don't think, over the Zoom thing, I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. Like,
Well, we'll see.
here's here's the chart that you know, the one that I found. It's only in black and white, right? Can you see
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, let's show it. Yeah, then we can see it.
Okay,
Hold it up.
one? Oh, don't I have
Hold
it
it
here?
up.
How do I do this?
Oh yeah, he's on a phone.
Oh, he's on a phone.
Okay.
You have to prop your phone first and then,
Okay, am I there? Can you
got
see it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's that big Jupiter up top, right there. Kaboom!
Which one is it?
Right at the very top. You've got 0
But that's
Capricorn
Jupiter.
and
Jupiter's the one that
kind
looks
of
like a
YF
four.
That
Looks like a
YF
four.
thing? This is the Jupiter sign?
Yeah, no,
No, right next to it
below
down.
that.
This?
Right there, yeah,
That's Jupiter.
yeah.
And that's
Okay.
very prominent. So that's a
To the
significant-
midpoint. Yeah, it's amazing. That's his goal. That's the goal or the higher energy coming in. So it's very expanded. It's like expansion, the wheel of fortune. Lot to play with.
Yeah, there has been, but I mean, my interactions with Dwayne were always like when I'd be in a spot in my life when I was going, what in the hell is going on here? And I'd call him and get him to do a session for me. And because I'd be like, I don't know if am I screwing up here or, you know, because I basically live intuitively that hard work. I like hard work, but intellectually, but my mind takes me different places.
I see it. I see Uranus now. It's on. It's in the Virgo house, isn't it? There's Libra. Hold it a little higher. A little higher. There it is. Can you see it? To the right. Abajo, like down. Hold it up again, please. But I can't.
he's,
Technology.
I can't point.
Am I there?
There it is.
yeah, that's good.
Can you see it? But I can't see the where his sun is there.
Oh, my thumb?
Sun's in Sagittarius,
My son's
early Sagittarius. There you go.
Okay, so my Jupiter is in Capricorn, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I would call Dwayne up and he would give me the reading and we'd figure out after talking that I was exactly where I should be.
It looks
right,
like
Dwayne?
Yeah.
in Virgo.
Aren't we all?
Anyway.
And one of the fun things that I'm aware of here is that David and I my son is exactly conjunct his Venus, or his moon. And I think you and Sophia have that, don't you, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sophia's sun and my moon are conjunct in Gemini.
So that's kind of an interesting little.
Mhm.
And conjunct is when they're together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think of back to back.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
No,
Like
we're good.
like our composite sun.
And what, Steve, what'd you say, Steve?
Like Dwayne and my composite sun.
Where
We're
you're
back to back, correct?
blowing your bugles?
The two bugle blowers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Sophia and I were a clear mountain stream.
That's for sure.
That
fits.
feels good.
Yeah.
That feels good, you bet.
So I have a question about the IC on the
Imum coli, they call it.
yeah, and its meaning, because I'm just noticing that the one thing I have two things in Aquarius. Seeing we're talking Aquarius, is the IC's at 20 degrees, and I have my North Node at 9 degrees Aquarius.
You're to bring everything you are into the Aquarian sector.
Yeah, with the North Node. Yeah.
That's your Dharma point. That's,
Yeah.
you know, that's where you bring it to a focus.
Right. So it's showing up there in Aquarius.
Right on.
Okay. But this 20 degree is interesting because we were talking about that 19.5 and 20 degree with our triad. And I also heard that the last 5 new moons have been at 20 degrees.
Mhm.
And so this new moon's at 20 degrees, and it's right on my IC at 20 degrees right now.
Wow.
So I need to look up what this 20
I
degree.
see. You have this I see experience.
Yeah. Well, I had that yesterday, which means it's conjunct.
Cool.
Yeah.
I see how much joy
Yes.
carrying puppets around are.
That's just great.
Yeah, like Pinocchio's father, you know.
Yeah. Geppetto.
Do you
Get this.
know Jim Galtz?
Pardon me?
You know Jim Galtz from Calgary?
No.
Okay, well, Jim and I shared a rock shop for many years,
Mm-hmm.
and he is a master. I call him Galtz the Magnificent, because he in many realms he is a master, and what he's doing these days, he's just retired, I think, is he's carving little men with beards, and it's totally a European tradition, I believe. And he's taking these little guys and putting them out in nature and getting pictures.
Yeah.
And then there'll be.
That's a good idea.
Well, yeah, and now he's added to it. He's got the little man, and then the little man is overseeing a construction of some object, you know, out of mechano toys. And then he'll add a motor to it, and it'll turn and becomes a meditation gong. And it's just so delightful. So you guys, I'll have to hook you up on Facebook, see what he's up to. And they're all very colorful.
Does he leave them out there, Dwayne, in nature in different places? Does he leave them?
I don't know. I wouldn't. I don't.
Maybe he just makes pictures and takes it like art. It's art, you know.
Art. It's, yeah, and he's a storyteller. You know, each one is a bit of a story. So very.
I was just curious because I sometimes, or quite often actually, come across stones when I'm out walking in the park or along the lake, river or something. Stones with sayings on them.
Yeah,
you know,
we're doing that a lot.
And it's wonderful to come across things like that. It's like,
Take
oh,
pictures,
yeah.
And you have your mobile phone these days. We all have a camera with us. Isn't that great?
Absolutely. I think that's part of this Neptune coming in, you know, as we're all entering that space of expanded vision.
I should get you this. I don't know who does this. A friend of mine gave me one of the grocery carry bags. Now I just took a picture of this, but this is this is the picture it has on the it's the sun's too bright maybe now. Here's the. Can you see that?
That looks good. Yeah.
And it's all these, look at, people, laying around and, playing around, the kids in trees and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's under there, all the skulls are the globalist, what does it say? Scumbags, globalist scumbags are down there. And here's the new reset. This is
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful. Wow. It's beautiful.
But I like that. I like that people are living it.
Yeah, this is coming.
Not wishing for it or bashing the other. It just we just need to live it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I saw this. I'm going to make, I'm going to get copies of this and maybe, post it around, or it'd be nice to maybe put this on a t-shirt or.
Right on.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's,
I gotta get Kobe in here. He's got to be in the Zoom.
Yeah, and it's so long time that the artist didn't, I mean, in this all this confinement and everything, we have to digest that. And when we play, when we are artistic, we can get rid of, we need to get it out of our body. We need to what this mask wearing and this being restricted, we have to bring it up from the subconscious, yeah, like him, and bring it out so we can sort of face it. And that's where artists are really asked, you know, we have the permission now to play and you know, be the group, like I said, with Joanne, it's like we have to be the catalysts to bring in that people sort of can digest, especially the kids. Especially the kids have to sort of find a new way of how to tune into intuition and imagination and bring that on instead of fear and hate and fight. You know, they're so overwhelmed with that. So you're on the right path with your energy, with your creative energy.
yeah, and I see kind of, and Steve's on that same path. So I think it's that path is opening up. I think there's,
Yes, it is.
yeah. So
Well,
Love it.
and you guys don't probably know, but David is a songwriter, singer-songwriter.
Oh, okay.
oh, nice.
Well, he's got room to roam with that big Jupiter up there. I think there's, you know,
Yeah.
that looks to me like a following, a big following.
And Sagittarius.
Those songs.
Sing
Well,
about
thank
the
you, Dwayne.
sing about the good reset here. Sing about the good reset.
Mhm.
Oh, I got a few on that subject already.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to find some kind of platform. While I was here, the first week I was here, it's funny because I've been on Facebook for decades, but my picture was at least 20 years old. But I decided to. My youngest brother recently died this summer, so I decided one thing he always did was he put himself out there, and I have to some extent, but not with the real gifts I have. So I decided to just throw these songs out there, and I did 3 of them. And I got like probably the least friends of anybody on Facebook, maybe 30 or something like that. But I got lots of comments and lots of good people that I loved and lost or came out of the woodwork. So, but the thing with Facebook as a platform, I'm sure you all realize, is that everything just kind of disappears after, unless it keeps getting liked and stimulated and everything, it just disappears and you can't find it anymore. Or I don't know, that's my experience anyway. Like, and so I was kind of looking for a platform that I could go on and that I could keep a thread going like that. And I don't know you guys are all on the internet all the time. Is X a really good platform that, what's his name's put out there, Muskie? Or
Twitter.
What? Twitter?
YouTube channel.
Yeah, YouTube channel, or
But it's
actually
all very
with Facebook, you can create a page. I have a page that I started back in 2010, and it's not active. It was the 1008 Buddha Project, but it's always there, and there's people coming across it. It's not active, so it's not getting out to the world because I'm choosing not to with it, but it's still there. So it doesn't, I'm trying to address your point of it disappearing. If you create your own page, then it won't disappear.
Well, how's that different from your home page?
Yeah, well, it is different. So you have to look that up.
Okay.
And just go to make a page.
Yeah.
And it's similar in a sense, but it's more towards promoting something as opposed to your home
Yeah, I don't want that.
homepage.
This is just like a gift freely given. It's not, I don't want to promote anything. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, well, you don't have to promote it if you're saying you want to save it. If you want it to be there, you can create it and it's there when you want to access it. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to, most people are using it to promote something, but you don't
Right.
have to promote with it. That's why I say I have my Buddha project on there before Facebook ever got into, okay, you got to pay for an ad to promote this thing. You can still create it now, but you don't have to send it anywhere. You at least have all your stuff in one spot.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's actually a lightning path page on Facebook. I don't know if you guys have ever come across it. I don't promote it, but it's got a ton of images and videos and so on from the past. But I'm using it exactly the way you're saying, Steve. Like just put it up there, park it there, and let it be what it wants to be. And
Right.
if I need to go back, like for instance, I can go in and there's an image I want to use. Can't remember where I put it, but I can go back to that page and there it is.
Yes.
Just drag and drop.
Yeah.
Very, very handy.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Well, you guys were into the last counting down here to the 2-hour mark, which is when we usually stop. So any final proclamations?
Yeah. No, I see.
I
Lightning
feel.
See.
What did you say, Barbara?
lightning path. I just went into Facebook and I saw the lightning path here. Is this like with an X kind of thing? That must be you. That's the lightning path.
Yeah, that would be.
And you can go into the 1008 Buddha project
Yeah.
and it'll do
and
the same.
just follow, and you just follow.
Yeah.
1008 Buddha project.
Buddha project.
And is that in numerals?
Yes.
Or okay.
1008 Buddha project.
Okay, I'll check that
that's-
out.
Heck of a project.
See what this dude's all about.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, you guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. See
Nice
you
to
next time.
Nice to meet you, Dave.
I have no
Yeah,
idea
nice
what
to
this
meet
new
you.
moon is because I haven't kept up on that stuff, but intuitively,
Yeah, but everything can explode.
yeah. Well, that seems to be
But it
common.
also is the same.
Since I showed up here, the cars and the vehicles just keep exploding. I've spent most of my time here fixing them.
Oh my God.
So I'm
Uranus-
hoping to get Dwayne and Teresa on Monday without any further
Oh,
escapades.
wow.
Mhm.
Go
Yeah.
back. Nice trip back.
Coming home. Yes.
Yeah.
Have a good
Oh,
trip.
Thank you.
Enjoy your trip back in the
Yeah.
cold.
Thank you for all the aloha you've been sending from Hawaii.
Yeah, beautiful
Very good.
presentations.
pleasure.
Thank you for that
Yeah.
latest. What was that? The gentleman up on the hill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good presentation. So
Yeah.
thank
I
you
felt the
very
guy
much.
up in Waimea
Oh,
doing his
yeah.
presentation.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I mean, the timing for me to arrive there just when he was,
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Yeah. I just really felt his trickster energy.
Yeah.
He's a real
Yeah,
trickster.
he was
Such a
very
nice
alive.
guy. Really
Yeah.
heartful.
Very beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Yes.
enjoy 3 Chuen.
Mhm.
And David, to understand Chuen, are you there, Dave?
Yep.
Okay. And these guys know there's a mudra for each temple.
Yeah.
And the mudra for Chuen is
You have to be
Yeah.
looking, David. David, you have to be looking at us.
Oh,
That's true. There's chewing.
love you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
So-
Yeah,
So
so
next new
much.
moon will just be a surprise, will it?
see you back.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.